Thanks for joining us on National Focus. I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Coming up, over $13.8 million allocated for the Ministry of Tourism and the U.S. Navy Comfort Ships Medical Mission officially welcome to Dominica. Details of our headline stories and more after this.
Black sikatoka seyo maladi ki ka affecte feuille figue et puis banane. Maladi sa la ke weste a laisse feuille la apre ou tiwe yo hot plan la. Pa serve feuille figue et puis banane ko cushion le ou ka mene dawe la place et bi lot pays. Pa chaye feuille figue et puis banane tout partout. Sa ke détruit figue et puis banane a pays la. A nou vini asam pour nous protéger dawe pays nou. Department Agriculture.
Thanks for staying with us. The 2015-2016 national budget of over $500 million was approved by unanimous decision today, the 28th of July 2015, in the House of Parliament. The Honorable Prime Minister and Finance Minister Roosevelt Skerrit tabled the budget, described as prudent and realistic, on Friday, July 24th, 2015. The main beneficiaries of the budget included the Ministries of Finance, Justice, Public Works, Education, Health, and Agriculture. A budget to enhance the lives of the Kalinago people. That's what the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Salibe constituency, GIS Daru, is calling the 2015-2016 national budget. Included in the over $500 million budget is $500,000 towards small businesses in the Kalinago territory. The Honorable MP says this is a significant investment in Dominica's indigenous people.
It's the first time in the history of the indigenous people of Dominica that we have received this amount under any government for our own development and charting forward for our self-actualization and realization. This $0.5 million, as we all know, in the Kalinago territory, we own our land in common, a communal holding of our lands. And thus, we are not able to approach lending institutions in terms of accessing finances. So this $0.5 million is significantly going to help us in providing for the people of the Kalinago territory the much needed funds to start small businesses. And we will encourage sustainable and innovative business initiatives for economic development, such as agro-processing and supporting fully the cottage industry.
The Honorable MP highlighted the work of the Labour Party administration in education.
Now under this government, we have free transportation, we have assistance with uniforms and textbooks. We have the transfer grant fund that is available to the people of the Kalinago territory, our students. Also, Madam Speaker, most importantly, I can proudly boast of what the government has been doing for our Kalinago students attending the Dominica State College. We receive a $600 transportation fee, and it has been government policy to give every Kalinago student who is attending the Dominica State College a scholarship to attend college.
The total budget allocation for the Kalinago territory is just over $2 million. Meantime, the nation's health minister, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, has lent his support to government's 10% excise rate increase on cigars, cigarettes, alcoholic beverages, and sweet snacks and beverages. On Friday, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit announced government's plans in the 2015-2016 fiscal budget to take proactive measures to further reduce the incidence of chronic and non-communicable diseases on the island.
I lend my support behind this measure. And in fact, those of us who have been familiarizing ourselves with following regional, local, and even international discussions as pertain to health issues will know that since 2007, the CARICOM leaders met in Trinidad, Port of Spain, Trinidad, and where it was dubbed the Port of Spain Declaration, realizing the effect and the toll that chronic and non-communicable disease was taking on our economy. the expense in terms of management, and also the loss of hours, healthy hours, etc. in people of productive age. The rest of the world, although the CARICOM region took the lead in bringing that to the forefront, the actual implementation of some of these measures took a lot of time. Of course, we understand why that no government like to impose new tax on its people, but the time has come, the time has arrived when we really have to take these measures to protect our people.
He added that it is up to nationals to now take charge of their health.
It cannot be all about the government alone, and we heard the leader of the opposition talk about that. They think 10% isn't enough. Of course, if we are put it 30-40%, then they would start crying that it's much too much tax. So it has to be like a government and a people partnership, where the people take responsibility for their own health, but at the same time, government has to create a disciplined environment, for want of a better term, in order to try to prevent people from accessing these what they call high-risk goods that lead to NCDs.
In June 2015, the Caribbean island of Barbados also announced the implementation of similar measures on all carbonated soft drinks, sports drinks, sweetened fruit juices, and juice drinks, effective August 1, 2015. According to the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, Dominica's 10% increase will take effect on September 1, 2015. In more news, although agriculture is being positioned to propel the local economy, tourism is not being neglected. The 2015-2016 national budget includes, based on input from tourism stakeholders, concessions anticipated to grow the industry.
A committee comprising representatives of both the private and public sectors deliberated on these matters and submitted recommendations for the consideration of the government. As a result of these deliberations, Cabinet approved a number of new concessions to the hotel sector. These include the following: amendments to the VAT Act to include the exemption of VAT on meals to hotel resort employees, provided free of charge. This matter was strongly put forward by the private sector as necessary for ensuring quality service. Amendments to the VAT Act to zero-rate complimentary rooms provided by hotels and resorts for select approved marketing activities. Amendments to the VAT Act to include exemptions on capital goods for mixed-use resorts developments, where part of the development will occur after the commencement of operations. This means that for a hotel which is being constructed in phases, a VAT exemption will be enjoyed on those phases not yet completed, even when the completed phases are in operation. This will apply to approved developments.
One of those measures involves amendments to the Income Tax Act
to accommodate exemptions on withholding tax on rental income of villa owners for a period of 10 years. The villa must be held for at least 3 years before change of ownership. This will apply, again, Madam Speaker, to approved developments. Amendments to the Income Tax Act for an exemption from the payment of income tax on the rental income on villas for a period of 10 years. The villa must be held for at least 3 years before change of ownership. Introduction of a residential levy of $2,000 per annum on all villa owners. This levy applies only to villas in approved developments. New legislation will be introduced in Parliament to allow for the sale of timeshare, condominium, and fractional ownership.
The alien landholder's license will also be adjusted.
In place of the license fee of 10% of the market value of the subject of the license, a flat fee of $5,000 will be applied, in addition to an application fee of $1,000. Approved developments are defined as proposals that meet the requirements outlined in the Hotels Aid Act with a minimum investment of $3 million EC. Such projects should commence construction within 1 year following the approval by the Physical Planning Division. Failure to begin within the stipulated time without a reasonable excuse will result in a penalty of $2,000. Amendment to Section 8 of the Stamp Act, Chapter 6801, a definition of the term related parties is to be included in the Act to provide for a transfer between an individual to a company where the individual owns at least 25% of the shares of that company, and transfer from a first company to a second company, where the first company owns at least 25% of the shares of the second company.
The Honorable Finance Minister outlined the specific reductions in the transfer fees.
Stamp duty reduced to 2.5% from 4%. Vendor's fee reduced to 0% from 2.5%. Judicial fee reduced to 1% from 2.5%. And there's no change to the assurance fund of 1%. The above shall apply to new qualifying projects, except the vendor's fee, which shall remain at 2.5%.
Those proposals are to be presented to the House for approval. Also in tourism, the island's marketing agency will get a $2 million allowance increase for the fulfillment of its duties. In more news, there is a possibility that 10,800 Dominicans, or 15% of the population, will receive medical attention over the next few days. This is the estimation as the United States Navy comfort ship proceeds on its continuing Promise 2015 mission to give voluntary medical care here in Dominica. The ship, described as the largest floating hospital in the U.S., will see 1,200 patients a day, 600 in Roseau and 600 in Portsmouth, over a period of 9 days. It is a historic moment for the island, and the Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, profusely expressed gratitude to the U.S. Navy comfort ship and the U.S. government for their humanitarian service to Dominica. Addressing the official opening ceremony to welcome the mission on Tuesday, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit noted that not only will the mission bring individual financial relief, it will also bring national benefits.
Though we are a small country with limited resources, our people demand the delivery of a quality healthcare that is second to none in the world. As is to be expected, this puts tremendous pressure on the resources of the state when nationals turn to government seeking support to undergo medical procedures that are not available locally. Therefore, your presence and activities here over the next 9 days, delivering urgently needed healthcare services to Dominicans, is for us not only an appreciated humanitarian gesture, but also an initiative that will help ease the pressure on our treasury.
The Prime Minister likened the dilemma of providing optimal medical care to citizens of Dominica to that of the United States, saying just as the U.S. President Obama has introduced a national medical insurance scheme, Obamacare, to ease the financial burden of its citizens, so too his government has plans for the citizens of Dominica.
Here in Dominica, government is pursuing the quest of health security for Dominicans with the assistance of the Pan-American Health Organization. We hope to devise a model of financing healthcare that is realistic and at the same time responsive to our peculiar circumstances as a small island with a population less than 100,000. I should tell you that the upgrading and management of healthcare is a top priority of this government. This site on which we are now meeting, the site of our main referral hospital in the island, was constructed almost 60 years ago. Advances in healthcare delivery and management and the expectations of citizens demand that we take this hospital to the next level of development. We will therefore soon be breaking ground for the construction of a new modern hospital right here on this site.
He says the United States and Dominica have shared a long and mutually respectable friendship and expressed the expectation that the bond will be further strengthened on this mission. Dominica is the 8th of 11 stops planned by the mission for 2015. Mission Commander Captain Sam Hancock describes the numerous forms of support that will be available to Dominicans on this trip.
During our mission stop here in Roseau and other areas in around the island, we will work alongside our Dominican partners to care for patients at both the Dominican Grammar School here in Roseau and at the Roosevelt Douglas Primary School in Portsmouth. Additionally, we'll be completing engineering work with our CB detachment of engineers at the Office of Disaster Management, working on some construction projects in that area. As alluded to previously, there will be dozens of information exchanges and seminars that will take place between Dominica, our non-governmental organizations, and the CP15 team and partners, which will include a variety of different topics, including women's health seminar, environmental health vector management, mosquito eradication, veterinarian exchanges and information topics on livestock and animal health seminars that will be conducted throughout the island.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Welcome back. Over 240 athletes from across the region are in Dominica to compete in the 2015 Windward Island School Games. Athletes from Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines converged at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium on Sunday, marking the opening ceremony of the week-long games.
The Windward Island School Games is the breeding ground for a number of future Olympians. And in each island, we can point to individuals who have made it to the international sporting scene and have had the Windward Island School Games as their foundation. Whilst we note those who have made it to the elite level, we are also mindful that the Games have impacted on our islands in other ways. It has been responsible for shaping other individuals who are today contributing to the development of our region.
The Honorable Sports Minister, Justina Charles, says the Games have impacted the development of the sub-region.
The game promotes the firm belief that sports and academic can coexist. Your presence and participation is testimony to that. But more importantly, its impact on enhancing your academic performance and your holistic development.
Head of the Grenada delegation, Raphael Crony, says there is much more to just winning these games.
We would have known Kerana James would have come through the system. And he came through these games, and all of us would know his position at the moment at the world stage, and is owning well. So certainly could be a career for many of you in this game. So don't take these games lightly. There's a lot that you can achieve coming out of this game.
Assistant team manager for St. Lucia, Marcia Delore Lashley, had this advice for the athletes.
You are not just athletes, but ambassadors of your respective country. Always remember that someone is getting to know your country by the way you represent yourself. Give of your best and represent your respective countries with valor, pride, and dignity. Demonstrate strength of character, perseverance, and discipline, as those qualities will assist you in becoming a successful, admirable, and productive citizen wherever you may roam.
Over the next 7 days, the athletes will compete in basketball, football, track and field, netball, and volleyball. The games will be played at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth, Lindo Park, Savannah, and Massac. On day one in track and field, Grenada took first place, while Dominica came in second. The games will continue with volleyball, netball, and basketball on Monday and Tuesday at the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. And finally, this news time, scores of residents of Maho and surrounding communities turned out on Saturday to witness the blessing of fishing boats owned by fishermen from Maho, Jimit, and Taru. The activity was organized by the Maho Jimit Taru Village Council together with the Maho Fisherfolk Cooperative. Mervyn Matthew has more in this report.
A bright morning in the West Coast community of Maho. The Maho Jet is bustling with activity as residents gathered for an annual event, the blessing of boats of fishermen from Mao, Jimit and Taro.
Bless these boats and the equipment therein, and all who will use it. Guide and protect them from the dangers of wind, of rain, and all the perils of the deep.
It is a very important activity for these communities whose livelihoods for decades has been primarily fishing. In fact, there are now 59 fishermen in that part of the island who utilize 46 fishing vessels, catering for the protein needs of a population of just over 9,000.
According to the National Landing Estimate prepared by the Fisheries Division, Mao alone lands about 95,000 pounds of fish annually. At a rate of $6 per pound, that is a value of more than $500,000 EC dollars coming into Mao every year through fishing.
Residents who turned out in large numbers on Saturday listened intently to the Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Mao constituency, Rayburn Blackmore, who also took to the seas.
I will continue to work with you, the fisher folks. I have given a commitment to seek money and to get more outboard motors, to get more of the equipment that you need. We shall be working with the fishermen in Massa to provide a landing site for you and a locker room. We'll try to do the same in Charo.
Saturday's official ceremony was followed by boat rides and races. The event was well attended by quite a lot of young people who participated in a wide range of activities, including a few impromptu swim races. The blessing of the boats ceremony was just one of many activities marking the Feast of St. Anne. For National Focus, I am Mervyn Murphy reporting.
Thanks, Mervyn, for that report. And before we leave, an announcement from the Roseau City Council. Property owners in the city of Roseau who are in default of land and house rates and other dues are kindly requested to come into the office of the Roseau City Council to settle outstanding accounts. Failure to acknowledge this final request for payment will result in the names of defaulters being published in the newspapers, and subsequently legal proceedings will be instituted and properties will be auctioned. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, le ministre de l'Éducation a reçu une tranche en budget là pour le développement de l'éducation. Parole celle-là sortie du ministère de l'Éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean.
Et nous avons que le ministère de l'Éducation n'a grand part, nous avons à peu près 16,6%. Ça nous avons que recurrent budget là. Et aussi en capital budget, nous avons 4,4% en budget là. Là nous avons fait travail à sous différents l'école en Dominique. Nous avons adressé problème grammar school, nous avons adressé problème Thibault. Problème Kalibichi, nous avons commencé à adresser ce problème-là. Nous avons mis longue attention en le développement pour éduquer les gens en Dominique.
En d'autres nouvelles, le département pour empêcher drogue Dominique, bien concerné record à d'état jeunesse qui est engagé en drogue et puis alcool. Parole celle-là sorti hors officier département là Malcolm Saint-Rose. Département là a formulé un plan 5 l'année pour adresser la situation là.
Les en pays en les drogues, la burden disease ça là, c'est le pays là qui a souffert de lui. Parce que tous les services nous qui sont engagés, l'argent nous les apprend pour manger chimie, faire tous ces autres business développement, plan de développement. Donc à essayer de faire tout ça aller dans car Jerry Moon avec habiter comme ça. Well, on paye une responsabilité pour ça, mais les gens qui affecté koyo avec a fait ces qualités évoluer koyo à drogue, ça pas faire pour un pays. So si nous ça oui des corps, nous nous ça oui des pays, nous c'est pour arrêter, pour faire des changements, pour faire une intervention pour comment nous ça oui des monde, so monde ça venir on met la vie, on met vie avec santé.
Et puis finalement, le gouvernement Dominique fait appointement ancien ministre Alvin Bernard comme officier qui travaille en ministre planning pour déterminer la situation Malte en pays là. Selon M. Bernard, record qu'a montré Malte actuellement descend en Dominique.
Le gouvernement Dominique a baissé pauvreté avant. Depuis l'année qui est passée, tellement d'années qui passée, 2009, nous avons baissé pauvreté de 38% pour 28%. Mais le gouvernement a baissé ça plus. So, comme ça, le gouvernement a un travail pour aider le ministre McIntyre, il est responsable economic planning et investment, pour aider à baisser la pauvreté plus. Comme ça, nous regardons la manière dont nous assessons la pauvreté, comment nous mesurer, comment les gens qui sont pauvres, là, qui sont pauvres, à qui raison ils sont pauvres. Et bien, nous avons regardé un projet et programme pour faire la pauvreté à Dominique descendre.
Quand même, si l'homme M. Bernard, le gouvernement a implémenté un projet pour mener Malte actuellement descendre plein.
Nous avons regardé tout projet qui est fait actuellement. Si nous ne sommes pas satisfaits, eh bien, ces projets-là, nous avons peut-être identifié, regarder d'autres projets, d'autres manières nous avons fait pour baisser la pauvreté à Dominique plus. Puis nous croyons la pauvreté, c'est un bail qui a affecté le développement du pays. So, si nous baissons la pauvreté, nous ni une manière pour contribuer à pays pour garder la famille et le pays tout bonnement qui est primaire.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, a tip to help you hear your alarm in the morning.
You're watching GIS.
If your challenge is hearing your morning alarm, then try this. Put your phone speaker side down in a plastic glass. This acts like an amplifier and it should help you to wake up earlier. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Thanks for watching.